Evening, everybody, and welcome to the board business meeting. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we just got out of a closed session regarding some legal matters, so we've been busy already. We'll start with additions and deletions. Does anybody besides myself have one? Seeing not, I would like to make a motion to delete action item number 4, which is the airport fencing bid.
Support?
Okay, and that's simply, it's not ready to be acted on. So we are deleting it. Any other discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor of deleting action item number 4?
Aye.
Opposed? None. That will be deleted. Thank you very much. Any other additions or deletions? Seeing that there aren't any, I make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Support.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. The agenda as amended, it will be followed. All right. Now we have some presentations to be made, and all of them really good things. So I'm pleased to ask our police chief to come forward.
Come on.
Hello, thanks for letting me have some time today. This presentation was going to be done by Officer Susan Dalpiaz today, but she's off of medical, so she can't do the presentation. She's well more informed about this program that I'm going to kind of just give you the overview on, and then we'll move into introducing our sergeants, if that's all right. So in a couple weeks, the residents of the island are going to see this mailer come out. That's just a mock of it. It's about that size, and it's going to reintroduce our Facebook page, the Code Red app that is used by all of the township to make notifications on bad weather, emergency, bridge closures, or whatever. It's a great thing for the community to join. It's free. And text 911. You can text a 911 call just like you can a call, and it goes across the data points and it goes into our dispatch that way too. So it's another way to call 911. But what Susan was going to do was going to do a Grosse safe key. And what Grosse Safe Key is, it's a program that she helped design, and she's going to do a presentation in a couple weeks, and it's going to be far more detailed than what I'm giving today. She has a PowerPoint presentation. But it's a voluntary program that we offer to the island residents, and it's free of charge. That's important. It's free of charge. You log on to the website on the bottom, grossesafekey.com. It takes you through the process, and what this system does, or this program does, it's designed to help the police officers and firefighters in responding to homes and businesses. And what it does is it gives them access to, if there's any medical conditions, only what the user wants to put on there. We're not requiring any information that they feel is personal, or access codes, or alarm codes, or whatever they want to do with the encrypted website that only our dispatch has access to. And to give you a kind of example, if there's a woman, a resident on the island that would routinely have a medical situation where we couldn't get into her residence, we knew she was in there. She had a lockbox in the front of her house, and if we had this program in time, it would take us some time to get into the house, and we could have access to the lockbox with the codes to get into the house, or alarm codes, or whatever needs to be done for the residents to give us greater access ability to enter the house or give rescue information or services. So that's just the overview of it. Officer Dalpiaz will do a much better PowerPoint presentation.
And she'll be in the future, she'll come
Yes.
and make a presentation.
We haven't
correct?
scheduled that yet, but we will when she
Yeah.
comes back. So
Very good.
she's more knowledgeable about this than I am. So
Great.
any questions on that? I just wanted to show it so the people at home can at least get started. They see that website, they can sign up today. It's free of charge. And then next I'd like to introduce two of our newest sergeants.
Please do, Doug.
Sergeant Vasquez and Sergeant Counts can come on up. Why we're doing the introduction is it's been many years in our department since we've had a lieutenant and two sergeants. We've had a full command staff in the department. And the benefit to introducing these two gentlemen is what they bring to their shifts. In a couple weeks, Detective Sergeant Vasquez is going to midnights for a short time, and then when we switch to a 12-hour shift, he'll be going to day shift. And then Sergeant Counts will be going to afternoons, and then he'll be going to midnights when we switch to 12-hour shifts. And what's great about these two gentlemen and having them in place, along with Lieutenant Brozak, is the amount of knowledge and education and training that these two gentlemen have. We have almost a third of our department is brand new. So if you look at our average, a third of them is 5 years or less in the department. Having these two gentlemen with Lieutenant Brozak on his platoon, running those shifts, a source of knowledge and information for them to help these officers get through the new times that they're joining the department. I really do believe in these two gentlemen are here, that they can bring that knowledge with what they've had for running the union and running the DB for many years as leadership. And they're going to bring that to officers that can use that in time. So I just want to introduce these two gentlemen to you guys and to the public. Nice.
Yeah, we've never seen them before.
No, but the benefit is that what we have for the department, we actually have a command staff in place. And that's huge for us, a chain of command, that we have. We include these two gentlemen in all these trainings that we've had lately for the officers. For the administration, we've included them. So we can all be one giant team. That's the plan. So we haven't had that in many years. So that's
great. That's great. Gentlemen, do you want to say anything?
Good evening, everyone. I just want to say thank you, and just looking forward to the next chapter of my career.
Thank you, Eric.
I'd echo his statements. It's quite an honor to serve in our department, especially move into a leadership position, especially with all the younger officers. It's going to be great to be able to mentor them, kind of rise them up through the ranks. So appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Yes, go ahead.
And Chief, I think it's also really good that our community gets to put names and faces to the officers, and I really like the fact that you are building the profile, the public profile of our department. So thank you very much.
We'll switch chiefs now. Russ and Jerry Brengard is the chair of the Fire Commission, and everyone knows Russ.
Thank you. I think we are presenting a life-saving commendation to our firefighters and a couple of our police officers. On Sunday, June 26th at 5:05 p.m., our firefighters responded to a report of an unresponsive child in a pool. Can our firefighters come on up? Our police officers? Those involved? Come on up. In our accommodation, I'll read the accommodation. Whereas, firefighter Simon was on scene and immediately began CPR. This is our firefighter Simon. She started CPR immediately on this child. As the child became conscious, firefighters Blanton, Graves, Huber, Mosia, and Pedestris arrived on scene to initiate transport. Some of our firefighters couldn't be here tonight. Adam Blanton, Carl Graves, Andrew Huber, and Marino Mosia. Whereas firefighters Blanton, Graves, and Simon used their knowledge and skills and medical training to revive the child. The child was taken to Beaumont Trenton Hospital. From there, the child was life-flighted to U of M Mott's Children's Hospital for observation. I'm proud to say the child was home the next day with no wear, no tear, or any other problems. I learned a lot researching drownings in people and in children. It takes 20 seconds to 60 seconds for a drowning to occur. Drownings do not happen like they happen in the movies where people wave their arms. They're deceptively quiet. And I'm sharing this with the public because I'd like to educate the public. 80% of the drownings with children happened when they're supervised. When this happened, we couldn't ask for a better scenario. We had an EMT on scene. We had 2 physician assistants and a lifeguard. That's how quickly things happen. This happened within 20 seconds. Everybody was moving into the house. Nobody saw, but the child ran back out to the pool. Right away, almost immediately, people started asking questions. Where's the child? Where's the child? They started looking around. The lifeguard said, I'm going to check the pool. And that's where our child was. We could not have asked for a better outcome. This happens across America. Unbelievably, 11 drownings happen per day. And we are a water community. It happens to people on boats. It happens all over America. We couldn't ask for a better outcome. I couldn't be more proud of my firefighters and my police. They saved the day. And everyone there that helped, I want to thank them. I want to thank them personally. This turned out beautiful. There is no wear and tear at all. This came out wonderful. So we would like to give everyone involved a life-saving accommodation, and Jerry's going to give them that accommodation. Cindy? AJ? Thank you for allowing us to do that.
Thank you, guys. And this is what makes Grosse Grosse. We do have a wonderful fire department, and wonderful police department. Thank you. All right, next. Public comment, 3 minutes on agenda items. Do we have a name? Yeah, please, if you do come up, please give your name and address, where you live. Anybody, Mr. Heil?
Jim, I spoke, Bill Heil, East River Road.
Thank you.
I've spoken about the concerns I have for the bridge before.
Bill, this is for agenda items.
I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself.
Got ahead of
I
yourself, think.
apologize.
We'll see you at the end.
Thank you for...
That's okay. Thanks, Bill. Anyone else that has anything to say about agenda items? Seeing none, we'll move on to our consent agenda. David?
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to make a motion for approval of consent agenda 22-041, which includes minutes of the June 13th, 2022 regular meeting, check registers dated through July 29th, 2022, approval to process and distribute payments through September 2nd, 2022, Zoning Board of Appeals appointment, interlocal agreement on gun range use, that's with the City of Trenton, Commission Liaison appointments, and to accept municipal credit funds from SMART for 2023.
Support.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion on any of those items? Hearing none, we have a motion before us to approve consent agenda 22-042 2022-041, which consists of the minutes of June 13th, 2022 regular meeting, the check register dated through July 29th, 2022, approval to process and distribute payments through September 2nd, 2022, a zoning board of appeals appointment, interlocal agreement on the gun range use, the commission liaison appointments, and to accept municipal credit funds from SMART 2023. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that passes with a 5-0 vote. I will mention to everybody, we only have a board of 5 today. Mr. Porcerelli and Mr. Yeager have been excused. All right. Our action items. Dave, you're first up.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to make a motion that the Grosse Township Board hereby approves a contract amendment between the Township of Grosse and the Great Lakes Water Authority.
Support.
Thank you. In our contract with, or between the Township and Great Lakes Water Authority, there's a contract reopener clause, and it triggers every 4 years. This year, 2022, is a reopener year. But in this reopening, there is no change to the rate structure. So everything will continue as it is. And the contract extension, or amendment rather, has been reviewed by legal counsel. And we had no problem with the amendment.
Support.
It was supported already.
Just emphasizing it.
I'd ask you what you're supporting, but
I'll get to the next one.
Thank you, thank you.
Reserve
Any questions or discussion on this? It's pretty pro forma. I mean, they did it. The reopener is for every one of the communities. It's part of GLWA, and they come through and tell you where you are. Probably the best part is you do get to make adjustments, which they're on a rolling cycle. So it's not just looking at the current year. It's I believe a 6-year rolling years, so we can make adjustments, which we have done, which will help us in the future for the rates at that time. So it's like I say, it's pretty pro forma. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, we have the motion that the Grosse Township Board hereby approve the attached contract amendment between the Township of Grosse and the Great Lakes Water Authority. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that passes. Thank you very much. And our next action item is that the Township Board hereby approve a property modification agreement and release agreement between the Township of Grosse and the owner of parcel ID 73-059-02-0067-000, commonly known as 28685 Swan Island Drive, Grosse, Michigan 48138.
Support.
All I'll say on this was part of our closed session and discussion on legal matters, and what we are acting on is the acceptance or non-acceptance of an agreement to settle the matter. With that, any questions?
Is this a roll call?
It will be. I'll do a roll call on this. With seeing no questions, David,
Aye.
Uda,
Aye.
Carl,
Aye.
Kyle,
Aye.
and I vote aye. The settlement is accepted. Thank you. All right. And number 3, something a little new for us. We have a motion that the Grosse Township Board hereby selects MBA Realty to represent Grosse Township in the sale of vacant general fund owned vacant parcels, non-open space properties, which have been budgeted for disposal within the 2022-2023 fiscal year.
Or,
Thank you. The history on this is when we were doing the budget, one of the things that came up is that it was time for us to start taking a look at our inventory of vacant land that the township owns, and that again, the township, not open space, that the township owns that we can dispose of, and look at that and see if we should get rid of any of it. And in discussing it, since we have so many parcels, talked about that it hasn't gotten that far. Process for every sale. Questions or discussion on this? Seeing none, we have a motion that the Grosse Township Board hereby selects MBA Realty to represent Grosse Township in the sale of vacant general fund owned vacant parcels, non-open space properties, which have been budgeted for disposal within the 2022-2023 fiscal year. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. We have a realtor, now we have our work cut out to see what we want to sell, if anything. All right. With that, that's the end of our action items. Action item number 4 was deleted. So we are at our reports, and Madam Clerk, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Supervisor. If you wanted to sign, we can
Yes.
already give that to Brian. So, as you know, we had a huge election here last Tuesday, and I'm just going to give you a small detail of facts. Out of our 9,526 registered voters, we had 3,723 cast a vote. That's 39.08%. Our election results summary you can get online on the website. And also, I think the state of Michigan has a statewide election summary. So I won't bore you with all those details. But it does appear that the township millages that we put on the ballot for this election cycle all passed. So then, 2 other things. I am the liaison of the board to the Fire Commission. And earlier today, Chief Beaudry informed me that to date, so since January, we've had 386 rescues and 55 fire calls. We do have a very busy fire department, mostly on the rescue side, not so much on the fire side. And they work in conjunction with our police department because, as we have learned, that most of the time it's one of our police officers who is first to the site of a rescue, simply because they are on the road and available to get there ASAP. But that also leads to a high success rate. Chief Beaudry has been putting out weekly and monthly reports on the activities of the volunteers, and it is an extremely busy department, and I am very proud to be a part of them in sense that I can represent what they do to the community. Our fire commission meets on the, I believe, the first first Thursday of the month or second Thursday of the month, always after the Township Board meeting. So our next meeting is this Thursday, August 11th. We meet here at 6 p.m. It's, of course, also televised. If you are interested in hearing the business of the Fire Department and the Fire Commission. I have recently been appointed as liaison to the Community Recreation Commission, which is kind of where I started my career on Grosse, so I'm very happy to be back there. If you've been following some of the issues of the CRC, probably the most publicly discussed is the fact that our playscape tucked behind the post office on Macomb Street did not manage to pass its most recent inspection. It is a sad thing to say, but play equipment does become dated as standards change, safety standards and accessibility standards. And of course, you know, it being a wooden structure, we've a long-standing problem with bees and wasps. And so the time has come to say goodbye to playscape, even though it is something that the community has cherished for a long time. That being said, Kim O'Farrell, our rec director, put out a survey to the community, and we have gotten a fairly good response rate, but a lot of people are interested in seeing a new kind of playground area, possibly on Macomb Street. Another site that they were thinking of that might benefit from this is to expand the playground equipment at Centennial Farm. It's also been raised that we might do something closer to Township Hall. For instance, Playscape originally was behind Township Hall, so as people came to Township Hall, their kids could play. It's possible that we might find an opportunity here, but if you have any ideas about that, any kind of suggestions, or you just want to be involved, please let us know at the Community Recreation Department. And the next Community Recreation meeting is on September 1st at 6 p.m., and it'll be here in this room. And even though the majority of the people that were sitting in the hall here at the beginning of the meeting have left, I hope you will all join me in wishing our Township Supervisor a very happy birthday on Thursday. And we hope that you have another happy and healthy year.
Well, thank you very much. And I'm lucky enough, my wife's birthday actually is tonight, so we get to do our birthdays together. That's fun. Thank you. Thanks, Uda. Treasurer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Treasurer's office is currently in the middle of collecting summer tax payments, which are due September 14th, 2022. We'd also like to make an announcement from the Treasurer's office that our office cannot accept post-dated checks for property tax payments, water bills, or any other payments that are being made to the township. An extension of the summer tax due date is available for those who qualify, and the application must be submitted by September 14th. And this will defer the due date of the taxes from September 14th until February 14th of 2023. And so far, we have collected roughly 18% of the 2022 summer tax rolls. And as always, distributions of school and county taxes have been submitted timely to those organizations. I'm also a liaison to the Commerce Park Commission, and we have nothing to report from the Commerce Park Commission. And I'm also on the DPS Commission. And on behalf of the Commission, we'd like to thank the electorate in Grosse for supporting the request for sewer millage. So we'll be able to start the process to satisfy the state requirements regarding the wastewater treatment plant. And that concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you, David. Trustee reports, as I mentioned before, Joe Porcerelli and Jameson Yeager have been excused from tonight's meeting. So Carl, that doesn't mean you get more time.
I'll work on it. Yeah. But I support that too.
All right, Carl, what do you have?
I have the privilege of sitting on Greenways Open Space Commission. We are planning a Dump the Junk event in the fall that will be coordinated so that we can do it 1 week before the St. James Episcopal fall rummage sale. The idea being what we have left over as opposed to discarding it, and some of the materials and items left are in excellent condition. We would hopefully be able to take those down to the rummage sale and they can sell them at the sale and benefit as opposed to throwing things away. The second thing is I want to take this opportunity in a day and an age where we hear about election fraud, election problems, missing people and equipment that doesn't work. I found this last election, although it's only 6 days old, to have been absolutely wonderfully run. I want to thank the clerk and the deputy clerk for all the work that they did, all of the poll workers and everybody that supported it. I found it to be just an outstanding experience, one of the best I've had, and I want to thank you for making this community as simply as reliable and fair in the election process as we can have anywhere in the country. And I just really appreciate what Brian, what Uta, and all the people at Helping did. I want to say thank you. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Carl. Kyle?
Yes, thank you. So I've been now in this position a month and a half now. The Planning Commission has not met yet, which I am the liaison to. There was a suggestion of possibly August 29th, but I don't believe they'll be able to meet then. So I'm hoping the next meeting after that, which would be in 2 weeks in September, will be when the Planning Commission meets. But I have had a lot of reading to do, so I have overlooked the master plan, which hasn't been updated since 2002, as far as I know. I know the township every 5 years decides that whether to take the process forward or not, and it is an expensive process, but it's something that I've talked to a few members of the board about and others about possibly looking at updating and looking at grants to be able to update it. I believe Trenton went through this process and received a grant for it because they were along the Great Lakes, and I would hope that there's a way for us to possibly use that same grant. But I just think obviously 20 years is a long time. Times have changed a little bit, so I definitely think it's time to look at possibly a new master plan. But yeah, we're not anywhere near making that happen right now. But that's something I'm definitely looking at and want to talk to anyone about that's interested in it. So that's the big news there. I mean, I've looked at as many of the ordinances as I can. I've confirmed that me reading through the ordinances and coming up with my own interpretations probably isn't the best use of my time. But yeah, and meeting with anyone that's willing to meet, honestly. And I will say, again, having been here a month and a half, how much I do realize how important citizen input is. I have prior relationships with people that I've reached out to and asked for advice from, or asked people to give input on things on, but it's not too many new residents that have reached out to me since I've been here. So again, I encourage any residents that are interested to reach out to me. I won't spell my name for you because you probably wouldn't get it that way, but it's on the township website, my email. Encourage anyone to reach out, and it also has given me new appreciation for those that do show up. And I know the Grosse Civic Association is here tonight and will be speaking, and they have collected, I believe, over 180 signatures around our bridge. I won't preempt Mr. Budney and Mr. Thiel, who I'm sure will speak on that tonight, but I will say I'm looking at ways to engage with Wayne County on that in my own way with some of my experience. So I'll leave it at that for now, but again, grateful for being here and grateful to everyone who's reached out and given me advice and feedback. Please keep it coming.
Thank you, Kyle. Attorney report. Tom, do you have anything tonight? Thank you. Township manager, Derek.
Good evening, Supervisor and members of the board. Just a couple of quick items this evening. Prior to the meeting, I did touch base with the bridge engineering company that we had contracted with back in April. It looks like the report that they've been working on should be complete It looks like probably this week, they said. So once that's received, we'll let the board members know that that it has, and we'll go through that process of getting that to you and reviewing that. So just a quick update there. That work has been ongoing since the contract was authorized in April, so that it's been a couple of months in the process already regarding that report. Once again, to piggyback on the treasurer's comments, wastewater treatment plant millage did pass on August 2nd, and the engineers are already looking at the process of developing the game plan to complete those required improvements. As it looks right now, we're looking at probably bidding in November, bonding in January, and the construction likely starting in February of 2023. So once again, thanks to the residents for their support on that. We're already working diligently to go ahead and fulfill those obligations. So just a quick update as far as what the proposed schedule looks like. Have been getting quite a few phone calls from residents about work on the island that AT&T is doing. So just to let the residents know, normally that work is taking place in Wayne County right away. So we're not always notified of work that's occurring, absent of a missed dig. A lot of times that's the only notice that we receive. So a lot of times we can't provide input as far as, what is going on beyond the missed dig ticket that we have, just because it's not on our property, not in our easements. It's in Wayne County's easement. So we'll try our best to track down what is going on for you, but in certain instances, if it is work within those easements, we don't have a ton of information about that beyond just locating our utilities for that excavation. So just wanted to let the residents know of that. There is some work going on over on Meridian that AT&T is doing in preparation of the replacement of the thoroughfare bridge, which is on schedule to be completed, or at least start this upcoming fall, or this fall, and construction through the wintertime. So we're aware of that work. We've been part of those conversations with the utilities coordination, but that's the most that we're aware of as far as AT&T work happening on the island. The bike rehab that we talked about over the past couple of meetings down by Horse Mill and Church and that stretch, that is all but complete with the exception of some punchless items. So everybody should notice a vast improvement in those areas of the repaving of the bike path in those stretches. So if there's any concerns about rehab on your private property as far as restoration of sod or grass, please feel free to give us a call. We'll make sure that your address is on the list. And then last but not least, this is the last week of work that we have our intern available to do, Katie Kimes. So I want to give her a special thanks for all the work that she's done with us over the summertime. She's been a great asset, and she's heading back to school, and this will be her last week. So if you see her around Township Hall, just say a quick goodbye. That's all I have.
Thanks, Derek. And Katie, thank you. It's really been a pleasure having you around and working with you this summer. All right, supervisor's report. I have a couple of things. The island-wide garage sale is August 19th and 20th, which I believe is the weekend after this one coming up. One of the things I've been trying to do is I've been trying to get a bank back on the island. It just seems, I know for me, it just seems very inconvenient not having a bank to go to. So I'm pleased, although I can't say one's coming back, I am pleased to announce that PNC will be putting ATM machines at CVS and at Kroger's in the very near future. So that is something. Also this week, or last week, I guess, we got notification of the Michigan's 50 safest cities, and Grosse ranked number 6, which is very good. Looking at actually looking at all 50, the populations ran anywhere from 5,600 in the smallest community to over 81,000 in the largest community. So it's quite a variance of not only population, but certainly the makeup of the various communities. Interestingly, of the top 50, 35 of the top 50 communities were townships. The other 15 were cities. In the top 10, I believe it was 8 townships, and all of the townships that ranked higher than Grosse were much smaller than Grosse. And we're not that big. So that all seems to have something to do with it. But having said all that, we rank number 6th as the safest city in Michigan, which is something we should be proud of. A lot has to do with just the fact that we are basically a residential community. Anyway, that's very, very good for us. And it's good to hear that we're a safe community. Clerk O'Connor went over the election results, and again, I would thank everybody for, as far as the Grosse millages, whether they be renewal or a new one, that they were strongly in favor of them. Thank you very much for that. I do sit on the DDA board, and our next meeting will be Thursday, August 25th. And the latest bridge inspection. Bridge is a big thing. I think we're going to hear from at least from Mr. Heil on that. But the latest bridge inspection report came out, and I'm pleased to say that there were no changes in the ratings, the various ratings within the report since the bridge opened. Having said that, I also want everybody to know we are in regular communication with Wayne County, especially since over the past few months there's been a complete change down in Wayne County in that road and bridge department, from the top individual on down to brand new chief engineer, even down to the yards. So we have been in constant since the bridge opened. We didn't stop talking to them, and mainly because there were a number of projects that they were talking about, and we wanted to make sure they didn't fall through the cracks. Although I'm not in a position to divulge the projects tonight. They are still all on track. They just didn't want us to say anything until we actually they had them down to where they could say dates, etc. But there's some good things going to happen on the Grosse roads and bridges. I know one of the big things with the county bridge or free bridge or Grosse bridge, however you want to refer to it, is the 5 piers that weren't worked on when it was closed. I'm pleased to say that is still on schedule to be done. They're in the design stage right now, and it basically, to make it very simple, they have to design the 5 piers as to the work that needs to be done. Then that has to go out to bid, and then the money has to be gotten to pay for it. So that is moving along. The work should be done within the next couple of years. And when I have something more definite, I certainly will pass that on. But I do want to pass on that we are in, again, I can't emphasize enough, regular contact with them. We call them, every couple of weeks just to talk, just to make sure everything is still moving along. So they have had a real problem since there's been the big turnover of personnel, and making sure that these new people even know that we had projects on their table. But they do, and they're moving along. And that's the end of my comments. So with that, we have public comment, 3 minutes, name and where you live, and I'm just gonna go a flyer here. Bill, do you want to say anything? Please come up.
Thank you for keeping me windward of reality. This is where I was supposed to be talking. Jim, I'm going to read one sentence here and express it as a goal or a thought here, and then just talk as time permits on much of what you're saying against what I'm perceiving as a person in the public. We need to have a firm plan expressed by Wayne County to give us reliable bridge passage. And the word reliable is in there, and it's significant. I'll just explain what my reaction was. I was on vacation for 3 weeks or so, and when I came back, the cost of crossing the bridge was up a bit. But the thing that shocked me more was that the passage weight limit was down to 12 tons. And I chewed on that bone for a while and went to my computer and said, what's an empty garbage truck weigh? And they said on average 33,000 pounds. Well, if the bridge goes down and Paul has a 12-ton limit, how do we get our refuse off the bridge, off the island, you see? With that thought in mind, I'm saying if it goes down, we have a worse situation today than we had way back when. Everybody else in Wayne County, I mean, if you're on a given road and it runs north and south, you can go 1 mile east or 1 mile west and go north and south some more and get around it. You put up a few signs and get there. No, we don't have those alternatives. The reason that's important, in my opinion, is that when you go to express yourself to the state or to the bridge people, why do you deserve it? You're only 10,000 people. We want to do the greatest good we can for the greatest number of people. And that traditional pothole I've talked about in the past over there in Canton had more people going over it than ours at East River and Gray. This is the only thing we have. Without it, we can't go to work. We can't get an ambulance over to a hospital. We might not get an emergency fire truck over the damn bridge if we had a real severe whatever. What bothers me most on that, when I think of severe, is if our woods got on fire. We need to do something about that. But the thing is that we need to keep that in mind. And somehow within that, I think it would be wise for us to define what reasonable is and stick to our course with that. And if they aren't on track with that, and we have to be sure we're reasonable, then we go to the state and say, look, it's your job, it's your responsibility to enforce that Wayne County does what it needs to do. Admittedly, there's some new people. But we have had and can document faux pas after faux pas for years prior to this. And because of that pile of faux pas, and even the fact that we had 6 or 7 trucks that shut down the bridge out of nowhere, why, we don't know. They didn't tell our police. It wasn't down for long. But it screams emergency, and maybe it doesn't have to be the footings of the bridge. It could be the swing system. I mean, the thing has to work. And we need it for a number of years. We need it for enough years to fix the footings and hope they don't fall apart before they fix them. We need them to understand that if they fix them now, it's cheaper than waiting and paying emergency bills later on. But we need it for the planning time for a new bridge or to have the funding available for a major repair. And right now, we're awash in funds compared to normal years for bridge work. But the only way we're going to get it is if we are organized and diligent in our efforts to apply for it and explain in solid terms that even though we're 10,000 people, this is our only thing. And that's basically the gist of my message. I have documents here. We've circulated a petition, 190, a lot of people.
189, I think.
Yes, it is. Thank you. It is 189.
Yeah.
I just was stumbling there a bit. And I think that indicates when you do that in 48 hours, there's got to be a number of people who are concerned. And hell, I mean, I'm grateful. I live over on Miso Island. They put that bridge in where I live, and I'm grateful to have it. I'm grateful they found a way to repair it. But these other things are mandatory because we won't live our lives if that bridge goes down and we're stuck with 24,000 pounds as our limit on the other one. It's just not going to work. And I'm asking you to keep that thought in focus. And basically, while it's nice to be good with them and have a nice chat and say we're working on it, I personally am skeptical that those footings without some kind of repair are going to go 2 years before they start something up. I'm not an engineer, but I've read enough stuff over enough time about what should have been done that wasn't done that that's where my head's at. I'm not here to criticize. I'm just worried. I'm done, and thank you for giving me whatever time I took. I have no idea, but thank you.
You're welcome. You got Joe and Jameson's time.
Oh, thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Karmazon. How you doing, Greg?
Thanks, Jim. Greg Karmazon, resident Clinton Township, homeowner, taxpayer 21228 Easter Road. First of all, I just want to say this was a great night tonight to see the fire department and police department honored. I agree with Clerk O'Connor's remarks that often the police are first on scene, and that doesn't always come across to a lot of people, but the role of the fire department and police department working together to respond to emergencies is, they do a tremendous job on that. And I think they took my parents during the final years of their life to the emergency room probably about 5 times. And while none of them were life-saving events, each one of them was very significant. And they do that every day, and they don't get as much credit probably as they deserve for what they do every day that we don't hear about. Also wanted to commend Trustee Grosse on the idea of revisiting the master plan. I think that is important. I think the board and the commission should take that up as something to do. A lot has changed in this last 20 years on Grosse. So I think that would be a wise expenditure to revisit the master plan. On the bridge, I appreciate the update from the manager Thiel and Supervisor Budney. That's encouraging to hear that there has been some progress on the support piers. Quite frankly, it's the first time that I've heard anyone in the township confirm that there is an actual schedule for the repair of those 5 support piers. As you know, I was interviewed by Heather Catala along with some other Islanders several weeks ago on a report that she did, and talking to her about that, her comment to me about her conversations with Wayne County led me to believe that the county did not have a firm time frame or commitment to fix those 5 support piers. And in fact, the statement that the Wayne County Public Services Department put out did not contain a firm commitment to do anything other than to have an engineering scoping study. So if in fact Wayne County has made a commitment with a time frame and is in the process of putting it into the bid and funding process, that's good. That's important news, and I think that we should all encourage the county to keep to their commitments. Finally, on that report with the bridge engineer, again, I'm glad to hear that there's been progress on that. Perhaps some of the progress that's been made hasn't been discussed at the board. I did not realize that, in fact, there was an ongoing report that was going to be presented to the board. I would only say that I think if you can, present that in public. Let's hear the bridge engineer present that report in public and have a public hearing on it and allow people to ask questions. I mean, Wayne County has never once come to this body in public to allow people to ask questions, and there's a lot of confusion, a lot of misunderstandings that are out there, and none of us want to put false information or incorrect information out there. So if we've got an expert, our independent expert that we can rely on, at least is someone that we can trust, let's have an opportunity to let the public ask some questions and get information straight from our expert at the same time the board does as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Mr. Zalasko, good evening.
Mr. Budney, good evening to you. Bob Zalasko, Plowbelt. First of all, thank you. Appreciate you looking out for our best interest on that bank. I, as a resident, definitely appreciate that. Thank you for following up on that. Again, our congratulations to our 2 sergeants. Looking forward to seeing them in their new positions. The bridge is well, the bridge, as we know, is probably one of our #1 priorities out here. Thank you for sharing the information that you have. I can understand that they didn't want to let it out yet because they haven't put their due dates on, but they're going to have to start dropping due dates on it pretty soon if it is in their budget. So we would look forward to hearing that. And with regards to Mr. Thiel's comment about the bridge engineer, I also would like to endorse if there's any possible way we could have a public forum The taxpayers paid for that. If we could have a public forum when they present, that we could ask questions, I think it would be very, very encouraging. And to be quite honest with you, I think we would probably increase our attendance if the people were able to ask questions. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. Just making notes here. Thank you. Okay, with that, oh my gosh.
Should I give
Yes.
my address?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you lost?
No. All right. Katie Kine,
Katie.
8317 Church. I just wanted to come up and thank the board and thank Township Manager Thiel for giving me this amazing opportunity to work with all of you over these past 3 months. I can't believe it's been, it's gone by so
That quick.
fast. I have learned so much within this township, and I just want to express gratitude and thanks to each member of the board, each employee, even the deputy clerk over here, for the amount of work and time that they put in for Grosse. There's a lot that people do not see. I can attest to that because I spent 14 hours with the clerk's office on election day, and when I tell you how hard those people work, you still won't be able to understand, because just the amount of work and time that goes into everything on this island is incredible, and I just want to thank you all so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Katie. Katie will be missed. She was a wonderful intern because she came with the proper attitude to wanting to learn, and Derek and I certainly wanted to really give her an education. And we didn't want her just filing papers, so we had her sit in on meetings and move around to every department and really get a flavor for it. And we are working with the high school to try and get an internship program with the high school, and I'm hopeful that that will be coming very soon, and we'll have a couple of high school students every term coming over and learning about their government. So thank you for paving the way, Katie. With that, and seeing that there's no one else you're not going to come up. Are you coming up again, Katie, or you're done? Okay, good. All right. With that, I would look for a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none.